Okay, everybody. Hey, I'm Mark Comfort, owner of Cruise Holidays, and I have the two world wanderers um, on this podcast, on this webinar, to talk about their 2026 destination of choice. And Andrea Redding, say hi to the audience.
Hello.
Andrea, how long have you worked for us here as a vacation advisor?
Over 32 years.
Yeah, well over half your life, right?
Yep.
And Lynette, how about yourself?
I've been here 14 years.
And you handle all these groups, and we do a lot of groups, don't we, Lynette?
Sure do. We sure do.
So in the beginning, though, it was just me or Mimi and I hosting these groups. Now the two dynamic duo, the world wanderers, Andrea and Lynette, have this 2026. This is a great itinerary. I have done this itinerary, so I'm going to share with you a little bit about this. But Andrea, why did you and Lynette pick the Azamara Cruise Lines to do your hosted group on?
Well, me personally, I like the smaller, more intimate ships. I'm kind of over the 3,000 passenger ships. I like 700. I want to be able to see my clients, my friends while we're on board and run into them and not worry about where they are, because small ships is the way to go, I think, right now. I think that's what everybody's wanting, and we really enjoy this a lot.
Well, and Mimi and I took a group on Azamara a few years back, and oh my gosh, they just did such an incredible job. And Lynette, let me switch gears to you. Why did you and Andrea pick this destination, which, by the way, I love, this Venice to Athens destination that focuses a lot on that Dalmatian coastline, primarily in Croatia, 5 different stops in Croatia. Why did you pick this itinerary?
I think it's going to be a real scenic itinerary. Beautiful beaches, beautiful water, the history of the area, the walled cities. I think it's, the scenery and the history is something that we are looking forward to seeing. And kind of flipping back to Azamara too, we picked this because it's an intensive itinerary, and Azamara also spends a lot of time in each of the ports. So we're going to be able to see a lot.
Yeah, Azamara's mission statement or slogan is they're into what's called destination immersion. And Andrea, that means staying longer in the ports of call so people can experience the nighttime in many of these ports, correct?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of ports we get in like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we don't leave until 10 o'clock at night. So we have a full day to explore and then have some time on our own in these nice little towns.
So I think you've hit a home run. You two are both your first hosted group together. Will be this July going on Azamara, on the same ship, the Azamara Quest, around the island of Ireland. And you've hit a home run. You two have 94 people, I believe it is, going with you. Is that right, Andrea?
I believe so, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so you decided, and I know, Lynette, you did most of the negotiations, but you've got a fabulous value on Azamara for your group to Croatia and the Dalmatian coastline, right?
We did. Mm-hmm.
Yay, I've taught her how to negotiate well. I'm so happy. Hey, okay, let's get into this itinerary. And by the way, Lynette, you so well said. You are so right. This will be an incredibly historic area. It will be an incredibly scenic area because there's mountain ranges all around. And the Adriatic Sea along the coastline of this Dalmatian coastline is just breathtakingly beautiful. I did this. I had the luxury of doing this trip as a group a few years ago, also Venice to Athens. So a very similar itinerary. So let me get through this. But what I also wanted to say is I think because you've got all this time in so many ports, that this will also be a cultural experience like none other. So, and I love Azamara for that. A lot of our customers or potential customers don't know Azamara, but we'll get into why Andrea and Lynette picked Azamara, the itinerary and the ship. So let's go ahead and go with this. Whoops, there they are. By the way, September 24th through October 3rd. Ladies, you picked a great time. We did that seminar the other night, and we've got a lot of people already signed up on this, but one of the things people like so much about this time was the weather will be in the 70s, usually the mid 70s, give or take just a little bit. But maybe even more important than that, the crowds of summer will be gone. There won't be crowds because this Croatia area and Dalmatian coast area is very, very popular. The world has found out how beautiful this place is, how wonderful of an experience it is, because it's not like the gigantic popular places. Yes, you'll start in Venice, and that is really popular and a big place, if you will. And you'll end in Athens, and that's a big place. But that's how cruises work. You usually, for air reasons, you start and end in a bigger port city. But here's the itinerary, starting in Venice. And I know, Lynette, you're talking about going into maybe Milan and staying there a night, and then Venice a night or two beforehand.
Right. We picked Milan because it's an easy airport and area to get to, and then we'll motor coach over to Venice and spend 2 nights before we get on board the ship.
Well, after you've been in Venice, I love Venice. Everybody loves Venice. That's why it's one of the more popular and expensive cities in the world. But you've got to spend some time there. The shopping is great. It's such a unique area of the world. And then you'll get to these smaller ports of call that I think everybody will love. And I think this smaller ship, the Azamara Quest, with 756 people roughly, will fit into these little areas so very well. So you'll get the best of all worlds on this. So let's go ahead. And I love this picture of the gondolas at St. Mark's Square. That's just such a iconic thing. And I hope you all will take gondola rides. I know you'll be talking to the group later on about the shore excursions that you will offer. People can do those with you, or they can do whatever they want separately too. But let's get into this itinerary, because there's 5 stops in Croatia. There is not a cruise line that I know of to English speaking or American passengers that stops at 5 different stops in Croatia. And by the way, why Croatia? Listen to this. The world has found Croatia. The world loves Croatia for so many different reasons. But Croatia is a country of 4 million people. That's all. Very mountainous, very beautiful, fabulous beaches. Again, as Lynette and Andrea said, great history, great scenery, beautiful scenery, and culture. Walled cities. A lot of this will be UNESCO World Heritage Sites that you'll see. Zadar is one of those places that you'll stop first, and again, as unique as could be. But what I really want you to look at with this picture is the beauty of the ocean. That ocean is just spectacular. And Lynette, is this where the sea organ is in this town?
It is where it is. Yeah, it's an art installation where the waves will play notes on the steps that go down into the ocean.
Which I think is kind of fun too. And again, what this picture doesn't show is the mountains off to the side, but we'll get into this. And little towns of Šibenik and villages. I love this picture because you will also see that there'll be little inlets and fjords that will come off of the Adriatic Sea that will take you to these areas. I know our very own Kay Long, who works for us here, was real excited to see the picture of the churches down there with the dome on it, because that's how many churches were built back in the 14th century, 13th century, 12th centuries. And a lot of these areas are that old. So you're going to get history, of course. You're going to get beautiful countryside. And the waters, as you see, are just gorgeous. And because there are these little inlets, a lot of times this water is going to be much, much calmer than, say, a bigger ocean that you might go on in the Pacific or Atlantic or wherever. In fact, they call the Adriatic a sea, which seas are, smaller than oceans. Okay, I love this picture here. In my trip, we went to Split, and you see a beautiful picture of the coastline there, and you see the shops, the flea markets set up, which I think is great. But if you look behind the buildings, you'll see the mountains, and in this case, snow-covered mountains. So it's just a beautiful area that also helps block the wind a little bit, these mountains. So again, normally you'll have a little bit more of a calmer, if you will, area to travel through, to cruise through. But Split is always with everybody. Nobody knows much about Split except for Game of Thrones people. This is where a lot of Game of Thrones, Split and Dubrovnik, were filmed in. So beautiful, beautiful area. And I love all the activity right along the sea there, as you will have at each and every one of these stops. But Split you will love. You'll just love Split. And again, very few people know anything about Split. Korčula is actually an island, but I love this picture too because you see that the beautiful turquoise blue waters and the lighter shades when you get closer to the beaches. You see the little inlets, and again, this is a cove, if you will, or an inlet off the Adriatic Sea, where a lot of these cities were founded. And again, beautiful, scenic, and cultural. A lot of these will be walled cities. A lot of these will have those winding, narrow streets and a lot of good shopping. Our dollar is strong over there and probably stronger. One of the highlights in this whole Dalmatian coastline is, without question, Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik is without a doubt the best known of all the cities in Croatia, and especially from the water. Here is a great view. We had our Nicole Busenbark, who's our graphic arts designer, take this picture or use this picture to show you not only the beautiful waters, but the walls that they built around the city. You know, in this part of the world, walls were very, very important because they protected you, like in everywhere where there are walled cities. These walled cities were just built so well that 6, 7, 8, 9 centuries later, they are still very much intact. And Dubrovnik might be the best example of an intact walled city. Now you dock around the right here, and again, you'll probably end up taking more pictures too, by the way, from the ship, looking into this walled city of Dubrovnik than any other place you'll go. And again, the shopping in all of these places are just fabulous. One other thing, as Andrea said earlier, you'll get to spend the evenings in many times till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, not in all places, but in a lot of places like Dubrovnik, so that if you want to go in and have dinner there instead of on the ship, you know, food's included on the ship, but a lot of times it's just kind of fun to go in to a place like Dubrovnik and have dinner there. And of course, as you would guess, the seafood is phenomenal along this way. Okay. Lynette and Andrea know that this is my favorite stop along the whole Adriatic seacoast. Without question, I never had a place anywhere in my extensive travels that have exceeded my expectations more than Kotor, Montenegro. Here is just a small view of what you will experience as you cruise in on this fjord. This fjord is 16 miles long, and you will see the rugged mountains like you see there in these beautiful Mediterranean with the orange roof buildings everywhere in the places that there is civilization. A lot of places where you go along this fjord, there's not housing at all. You'll see some farmers' homes and some lighthouses and things like that for most of the way. But then when you get into the very end of the fjord, 16 miles in from the sea, you will see this fabulous walled city, which is Kotor, Montenegro. And a lot of people don't know about the country of Montenegro. It's a relatively new country. Matter of fact, a lot of the Croats from Croatia, the Serbs from Serbia think that Montenegro is still part of their countries. You'll learn all this. You'll experience all of this when you're on the ship. But Kotor is going to be, I believe, one of the most exciting parts of your trip, and I'll bet it will exceed your expectations, maybe more than any other place you'll go to with the beauty of it. Now, I'm a big ancient history guy, so Crete is, Crete has as much history as maybe Egypt does with the Minoan civilization 5,000 and 6,000 years ago. And Chania is the biggest port in Crete, which is part of Greece. And you will see, again, the mountainous regions like you see, and then the beautiful bustling seacoast. But if you're into ancient history, study the Minoan civilization before you get to Chania, which is again in Crete, which is part of Greece. And then you'll end up your trip. This is one of my favorite pictures and one of my favorite places in the world, because there might not be a more spectacular view than the Acropolis, which is what you see right here. The Acropolis is the hill, and the Parthenon is the most famous building that is on the top of the Acropolis. And again, the cruise ends here. And Andrea, are you thinking about spending a night here in Athens, maybe after the cruise is over with?
Yeah, we are, because when we dock there, we get off and go home the next day. So we're thinking about spending one night at least to see some things.
And I hope, and by the way, all of you that are interested in going with Lynette and Andrea on this, they can customize the trip before the cruise begins in Venice or after it ends in Athens any way you want to. They will help you with airfare, and if you got miles or points, you can, they'll help you with that, and they'll set up your transfers when they know your air schedule, and will help you with the travel insurance and all of this. But let's talk about the Azamara ship itself. These are smaller ships, 756 passengers. That's brown areas, the reflection off of the ocean. But let's talk about the ship itself. I've been on the ship a couple times. This is the exact ship Andrea and Lynette will be going on in Ireland. And again, the ship is classy as can be. Now, this is a resort casual experience, just to make sure you understand. And Azamara is known for making this experience really upscale, but not stuffy. So it's a resort casual dress code. We'll talk to you, although this is classy as can be, we'll talk to you about some of the restaurants and places. That's the coffee shop right there, but I love the staircases here that we are showing in these pictures. They've got 2 private dining rooms also and a main dining room. Both of them are fabulous, and they have a beautiful indoor-outdoor dining room, which honestly for breakfast and lunchtime along this Dalmatian coastline, you're going to want to be eating outside as much as possible because of the scenery. And they have a game room here, and if you'll notice, there's lounges with everything. The lounge area and the seating. What I love about Azamara, they do a fabulous job with this small of a ship, only 700 plus people. You'll never feel crowded at all any place you go on the ship. And again, here's one of the specialty dining rooms that you'll go to. And Andrea and Lynette will do a great job of setting up dinners with people based on the size of the tables they can get. Here's the beginning of the buffet that is right next to the indoor-outdoor restaurant area. There's a good picture of it right there, the indoor part of it. And then another picture. And yeah, all this, you'll be impressed with the classiness of Azamara. This is one of the wine tasting rooms that they have too. By the way, I don't know if you know this, a lot of Croatian wines are becoming very, very famous, especially the whites, but they have a red over there with a very special grape that's uniquely different than almost any grape anywhere. It's close to the Malbec grape of South America in Argentina. But I just love the lounges. I love all the windows because visibility is a big deal. They lowered the shades to take these good pictures. Here's a gorgeous lounge. This is one of the lounges. There's 2 restaurants on both sides of this lounge. This is where most people, or a lot of people, will come and have a drink before their dinner. But I love, that's a classy looking room, isn't it? I just think it's great. Here's the coffee shop, a little bit better shot of the coffee shop. Andrea, I'm not sure about Lynette quite as much. Andrea likes her coffees to start the day, or specialty coffees, and they're all included. One of the lounges, as you'll see, again, beautiful, just classy, elegant experience. And oh, there we go. Okay, this is one of the lounges, and you see the windows, you see the views that you'll get in a lot of the lounges on this ship. Now, the entertainment, because the ships are smaller, they do have a smaller entertainment area, and they'll have entertainment for you too. And a lot of times, especially being in Port Longer, they'll be able to bring on cultural entertainment from the areas that you will be in. They'll also have some lectures here about the history and the cultures Okay, here's the outdoor section. Lynette, didn't we decide that's the gelato place?
Yes.
Yes.
I know everybody will be there. Gelato in that part of the world is great. Here's the place that you'll spend a lot of time. And by the way, I would recommend it, like Andrea said earlier, breakfast and lunches outside in this gorgeous area, will especially with the weather being so good, will be the place to be. But also when you're leaving ports of call at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, when the lights are on in the cities as you cruise away, to me, that's a real relaxing, peaceful, fabulous time. Okay, here's the lounge. I think Andrea and Lynette said that they're going to mark off a couple of these lounge chairs. Yeah, that one right there. The bigger one
Right
will be
there.
Andrea and Lynette's. They're going to solve a couple problems of the world every day from that lounge chair. Then we'll talk to you about the rooms. There are balcony rooms with outdoor balconies and the sliding glass doors, as you see here. There are some ocean view rooms. And by the way, when the ship was built, those porthole windows, they're not round circular portholes, they're the big windows, but they still call them portholes for an ocean view room. That was very, very popular. And then there are some suites. Azamara does not let us hold the suites, but if you want a suite, Andrea and Lynette can see if it's available, and then we can price you on that. But Andrea, talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about the decks, the different balconies, the V2 and the V3s.
Okay, yeah, the V2 and the V3s, they're exactly the same type of room. V2s are on deck 7. Right now, they're more forward or forward mid section that we have. The V3s are on deck 6, and they are more forward, mid, or aft on there. And then the ocean views are on deck 4, I believe, and they are midship that we have.
Yeah, and by the way, Andrea and Lynette can go over the exact, when you do give us your deposit, we can actually pick out the exact room for you, and we can let you know exactly where that is. Now, as Lynette said earlier, she did a great job of negotiating the price on this, but Azamara dictates the terms, and we do have a 3 deposit or a 2 deposit and then a final payment, so a 3 payment system. First deposit is whenever you want to deposit. The $585 per person deposit will hold that cabin for you exactly. Second deposit is due September 5th, and then the final payment is May 6th. Now, I'm proud of Lynette. She sometimes does a better job than I do in negotiating. Usually when I negotiate a great price like she did on this cruise, the cruise line says cannot use credit cards, but there they have allowed you to use credit cards for both your deposits and your final payment. And by the way, it says this trip requires a minimum of 12 cabins. Andrea, I think you've got 11 or almost 12 right now. Don't you already booked?
Yeah, with our event that we had, we just sold the 11th room, and I've got a couple other couples that are interested. So yeah, we've got the.
So this trip will go. There's no question about that. And then Lynette, you talked about the pre-package in Milan and Venice, and then I think you said a one-night post that you're doing in Athens.
About a one-night post. And so we'll do a good city tour in Athens, spend the night, and then head out to the airport the next morning. So we'll see the top sites in Athens that day that we're there.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful city. You'll get to see the Parthenon and learn all about that history. That's the cradle of democracy, everybody. This is just such a beautiful itinerary. I compliment you all so much. Andrea, is there anything that you wanted to add about what you're looking most forward to about this particular experience?
You know, it's kind of funny because you've done this itinerary. You come back and you talked about Kotor, Montenegro, and I thought about when we were looking at the itinerary, I'm like, you know what? Mark says this place is incredible. I lived through your trips and I want to do what you have done. And this trip just looked incredible and scenic and historical. And I can't wait to experience it with all the people that are going to go with us. So.
Well, I love it too. Lynette, what's your thoughts? What are you most excited about with this experience?
I think it's the same as Andrea talked about as well. Just being able to immerse myself in the culture there and to see the scenery and learn about the history of that area.
You know, I totally agree with that. I'm into history, but some people are into scenery. Everybody's into scenery, I think, but cultural immersion right now, culture is a big deal everywhere. And man, this experience, because of how Azamara does it with giving you more times in these ports, will be such a cultural experience too. And let me address Andrea on this. You and Lynette will be looking at shore excursions. As time goes on, we're not making those decisions right now. And then you'll be offering the shore excursions that you two might want to go on, or will be going on to the group. And if they want to do that excursion, they can. And if they don't want to do that, they don't have to, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. We thought it'd be fun to do a few group tours that it's just our group on the bus together and not with other people on the ship, just to make it more of an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I tell you, you two are such people persons, and that's what I love about hosting a group more than anything. Man, sharing memories, there's just nothing like it when you share memories. That's why so many of these people that are going, Andrea, are your clients that have been your clients for, you know, decades, honestly, in some cases. Okay.
Yeah, they've been with us for a long time, so we're excited, and I think it's just going to be an incredible trip.
And then I can sure tell anybody that's watching this, if you're interested in this itinerary, whether you know Azamara or not, talk to Andrea or talk to Lynette. We can review the ship. We can review everything that you might want to know about this, the different accommodations. We in groups are allowed to hold just certain categories, but then we can pick out the rooms in those categories whenever you deposit. So I would tell you, I think you guys have hit a home run. I know you hit a home run with Ireland, but this one I think is going to be equally as popular and satisfying to everybody. One last thing before you go, Lynette, how did you come up with the World Wanderers as your slogan? Like Mimi and I have got the royal family. How did you come up with the World Wanderers?
Gosh, I don't know. Andrea and I just kicked around a lot of different names, and we just landed on World Wanderers because we want to wander the world.
Want to wander the world. Well, that says it all. Well, I'll tell you what, everybody, I think you're just going to love this experience, and give us a call at 816-505-1500, and we can pick out your cabin. We can answer questions for you. We can help you with the pre-package or the post-package, or if you want that customized, we can help you with that too. And obviously, travel insurance is something we recommend very strongly. We'll help you with that. We'll help you with the air. Anything you want, that's what we do. That's what we've been doing for 36 years. I'm excited for you too. I can see Andrea, Lynette, you two right back here having your coffee and breakfast in the morning, watching you pull into port and getting excited for the day. So I want to say thank you to everybody, and especially to you, Andrea, and to you, Lynette. This is going to be a marvelous experience. So give us a call. Give Andrea or Lynette a call, or if you've got a vacation advisor here at Cruise Holidays, give her a call, and they can help you with this and answer any questions that you have. But I hope you'll do this because you'll absolutely love it. And Lynette, it is really a great deal, isn't it?
It is a wonderful deal.
We should probably use the word value. That sounds so much better. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us today. Mark Comfort here with the two World Wanderers, Andrea Redding and Lynette Tulge. This is Venice to Athens, late September of 2026. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.